I should have looked it up, but anyway, I pull in this driveway. I go in there. I knock on the door, or bell, or whatever. Ding dong. Nothing. Nobody's there, and I'm thinking, this is stupid. Honestly, I'm like, this is phony baloney. This ain't God guided me. And I back up, and I look over my left shoulder, and there's this lady waiting on her porch, staring at me, just looking at me. Well, it's now or never. God bless. This is the second song. It's called Treasure off of the album Home. And I just keep doing these later and later in the week. You can't get any last minute than this. But we're here, and thank you for being here as well. Your time is and attention and presence, that they're some of the most important gifts, strengths that you can bring to people and to life. So if you're listening, I thank you for listening, and I hope you will be blessed in a special way by doing so. This song, the lyrics are real simple. So, I think back to my early experiences. There's a train. I wanted to at least share from some of the guitar kind of standpoint of the 12 string of what this, like I said last week, sometimes a different guitar, a different amp, a different capo, they just bring so much help me with that creativity. I'm not talking too well today. They help me with certain creativity, and something different comes out. So with this 12 string, I wanted to play on the 12 string and then go ahead and play on a regular guitar so that you could see if you hear a difference. So this is with the 12 string. This riff just jumped out at me. It's you can hear the high notes, right there is actually 6 strings, because I'm not just hitting I'm also using another finger for the skinny string. So actually more strings than that. 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 8 strings. It just adds so much. Big bass note, boom. But I'm also hitting that with now. Let's go to a regular acoustic guitar. To me, it sounds softer, this guitar does, but it's missing so much more of those just extra tones, extra strings. Like I said before, I'm not a technical player, so kind of neat to step back and to look at how that 12 string has really motivated and inspired this whole album. So like I said before, it wasn't for that 12 string. I don't think these songs, a lot of them would have been created. So, as a guitarist, as somebody who's creative, get some tools, get some extra ones, try something different. Different songs come out of that classical guitar that I have. Different ones come from another guitar that I've had forever. But anyway, electric guitar, it's just interesting. So anyway, just a little guitar part. Now, going into the lyrics, this, like I said, this started, or at least inspired, at Malabar Farm. We found the treasure, and actually I have crossed out amongst the trees that didn't make it, a world of peace. We found ourselves, or something in between. And, that peace, I would say, is one of the greatest treasures I've experienced in life. Another train. When you don't have it, when you have the anxiety and the fear, when I first sobered up, that's all I wanted was some peace. And I hate to say it, but it took a long time, and a long time. I remember being sober for 10 years and thinking, when am I ever going to have some peace? And I don't know what happened, but maybe around 15 or 16 years, maybe, I don't know. Something happened, something clicked. Maybe it's medication. But it took a long time for the peace to come. And that's one of the biggest things that I wanted. And it eventually came. There's moments where, not everything, not every day, not every moment is peaceful. But there is a inner peace that comes. And I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's momentum. Maybe it's letting go. Maybe it's experience. But it does come. And, that was a big thing for me, because I just never had it. So when it shows up, it's a huge gift. So anyway, so going back, this is going to be I can tell already this is going to be a fun one for me. Looking back, I grew up in the Catholic Church. They tried their best with me. Didn't work out so well for me there. No, I was just going through the motions, the religious motions. And, part of my story is just being an alcoholic. I just loved to drink. It did everything for me. And, just ended up running and trying to run from myself. But I followed right along. So anyway, part of my story is meeting this man, Nicholas, traveling from Ohio all the way to Colorado. And, he lived it. There was something different about him. And, he was happy. He joked around a lot, and he was a drummer, so that immediately drew me to him. And, almost like last week with the Started Out, I started out that journey. He invited me to go to a meeting with him, and it altered, it changed, it radically changed my life, and a 180 turn. And how do I explain that? I don't, I can't, you know. I would say that I was willing to try something different. I was pretty banged up, just emotionally from life, spiritually and mentally. I just it's really struggled. I didn't know how to live life. But anyway, here's this guy, and going to meetings, but he would talk about going and getting quiet, and he called it his medication time. I'm gonna go medicate. And it was Gator's example. Now, he didn't talk about it much. He would just say that. And somehow, organically, I just started trying it. And so, I was riding off his wave. Like, I didn't know what was happening or what was going on. But he would minimally talk about it, and he was doing it every day. And I would see him, and he'd have his motorcycle or his bug, and I noticed him before when drinking, but when I sobered up, it's a whole nother ball game. And so, he was always doing something, always going somewhere. And, he would say something like, hey, I'm going to go get some quiet time. Yeah, I'm going to go up in the mountains, go medicate. And, I tagged along. I mean, not physically with them. I've gone a couple times, actually. We've done it. It's a little different. But I just started doing it myself. And like I said before, Colorado is filled with places and areas and unexplored territory. I mean, that I just started doing that as well. And, there's something about it when, for me, it was one of the first times of tapping into that spirituality, into that relationship with God. And I had no clue what was going on. I just knew that I loved getting outside and trying to get quiet. And, it was such a opposite thing of religion for me, because it was to get out, get quiet. There was no cell phones then. They just started up. Get out, go explore. And to start off, I'd just be like, God, I just ask you to be with me. Because by then, I was willing to pray, and I started very, 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 very basic. In the morning, I would ask God to help keep me clean and sober. And that was it. I mean, there was a couple other things. I would hit a meeting each day. I'd read a portion of the big book and a thank you at night. And that's it. And so that was from the basics of finding that treasure, that quiet time. And, one of the first times I couldn't believe it, but it was like God made time for me or spoke to my heart, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and I fell in love with it and him. And there was, I would say, to tie in some scripture, it was I remember coming back home for a trip for Christmas or something, and I remember somehow finding my parents' Bible or something. And I remember reading back. It was something Old Testament with Moses, and from what it said something like, and God spoke to my spirit, and I could relate to that. That was the first thing that I related to out of the Bible. Was Moses. And looking back, I thought I was going to be the next Moses. I had no clue. I had no clue that anybody could tap into that spirituality. No clue. And that was the first verse that really spoke to me. And that was it, where Moses said, God spoke to me, spoke to my spirit. And I'll probably never forget that. But anyway, I wanted to take that Bible back with me, but Mom wouldn't let me. She wouldn't let that thing go. So anyway, yeah, that's my burning bush experience. And I fell in love with being out in nature and just start hiking, start walking, and just say real simple, God, please be with me. And I don't know if Gator taught me that. I don't know if that came naturally. I'm not sure, but it came. And I think it was a stepping stone because, I would do that. And then, with the inventory later on, which is was a mountain to me, I'd ask God for help with that. So I think it was a basic thing. And so anyway, there was a time when I did go hiking and I was trying to cut this gold. It wasn't gold. It was some kind of a rock. I thought it was gold or something. I'm trying to cut this rock up with a knife and I cut my finger. Oh, I sliced that thing and I had to cut my shirt and tie that thing on there. I still have the scar, but looking back, after that I stopped looking for gold, I guess. And so that treasure, I would say for me, the treasure is getting quiet and speaking to my God and hearing and listening and tapping into that wonder and amazement. Now, Nicholas would share that sometimes you can force your will, or you can, how did he word it? Sometimes you can hear something, like you want something to happen, and so you'll hear that. So I think there's truth to that for me. I think one of the best ways of going about it is just praying for God's will to be done. And I would say the main thing is that I started that and I would not have started if it weren't for Nicholas, him living it and him doing it. So in the same way, hopefully inspire somebody to start off on their own spiritual journey. And but you got to live it. I can't just talk about it here on a podcast. I hope to inspire my kids by that. Any kind of prayer, any kind of connection to spirituality or God. So anyway, go there with the breeze. Will you go there with me? Kind of like I said earlier, I didn't get there on my own. Not at all. Absolutely not. Sometimes it takes somebody to inspire us. A weird thing is sometimes, with basketball, one time I was watching the championship with the player from Milwaukee Bucks. Some people are going to be angry with me. I can't remember his name. Oh, he led the way for his team in this one championship. It's probably 2 or 3 years ago. What's his name? Sorry. Y'all know it. Phenomenal player, phenomenal man. But that guy, just watching him play basketball, this is what came alive in my heart was, you can do so much better as a father. How do you get that from somebody playing basketball? I don't know. Even the high school, we went to a high school basketball game for Open Door Christian School, and this guy, Julius, oh, man, his effort, just, he inspired me. And there's something about that people inspire me And it's a rare thing for me, but it does happen. But interesting how sports or that basketball recently can open my heart or talks to my heart because he wasn't the best player, he wasn't the best shooter. He's a phenomenal basketball player, and I've seen him work a little bit in the summer when I would drop my son off. And he the thing is he works hard and he plays hard. And something about that playing or that effort that inspires me. And the same from that NBA player. I haven't really followed him that much, but I really enjoyed his interviews and stuff. But anyway, I would say we need people, or people need to see that you can get quiet, that you can spend time with God, that you can put other things on the back burner instead of always being distracted or always doing just being busy. And you can slow down and spend some time and invest in that relationship with God. But anyway, so that middle part, I didn't even have that written in this older one. I don't even see a date on this when the song came out. But anyway, this path leads to somewhere in a moment of truth. Maybe it's that burning bush. You're calling me to something better than where I've been. And, I think it's an invitation. I think it's absolutely an invitation where, you have this life, you can do it, you can be super busy, you can keep going doing the same thing and, get the same results, or you can try something new. And I've experienced, the spiritual realm. It's a whole nother ballgame. It's a whole nother world. And it's available to anybody that's open and willing to try. Uh-oh, here's Hannah. Caught me working again. Okay, so anyway, maybe I'll... maybe every time a train comes or the kids interrupt, I'll do have a word from our sponsors. Oh, by the way, we don't have any. But anyway, hey, I do want to let you know, this album, I've been working on a man course, and I do want to put this out there because for Father's Day this year, 2024, I have this 100-day journey for dads and for men to help support them with the kids and with the wife. So I want to put that out there. I've got the foundation and the bones and the structure for that. Now I do want to have something for the wives if they want to get it for their husband on coming up this year for Father's Day. But I also want to bless them in a way. So that's going to take a little more work. I'm hoping to get to that. But this is what I'm putting out there. If you get something for your husband, I'm going to cut you a great deal, and I want to bless you in a special way. So anyway, that is a little word from our sponsors. So anyway, on the original recording, fun fact, I just repeated that same line for the second verse. But later on, the words came out, we found the treasure, an inner peace. And so I tried going back and tried to record that into that again. And there's something about recording where it takes just one setting, one little click, volume-wise, position-wise of the microphone, and it sets it's totally different. And it did not work out. So if I'm performing this live, then that inner peace is coming out. But it did not make the album, and I'm disappointed about that. But sometimes you gotta work with what you got, and was what we had.
I got something for you.
Okay, man, I'm really working hard at this. Anyway, so another moment for our sponsors. This Valentine's Day, 2 weeks, guys, I am whipping up this song, and I want to have an option for your voice to be a special message to your loved one, and it may be an option. So if I can put up a link, something like that, it's going to be real cheap, probably $10 or something, but it's going to be a special message to your wife or loved one for this Valentine's Day. I wanted to make it an option. So anyway, enough of these sponsorships. Let's see if Hannah leaves me alone for a little bit. So anyway, okay, for the end of the song, you got that bridge. Oh no, oh no, don't let me miss this part. So, better than where I've been. How long before I learned to love? And it's got that pause. And then, myself. Oh, I love that part. Probably because it does have that pause, because you think it's done with that. How long before I learn to love? You know, we do have a saying in the program of, come on in and we will love you so that you can learn to love yourself. And man, I have experienced that firsthand. And, a lot of times with an alcoholic or addict, for myself, just come in with just a guilt and regret and a life of shame and doubt and fear. And you just have all this negative voices of self-hate, just hate in general, anger, resentments. And, that myself was a big part of that resentment list. Whoever I was around the most is who I was most resentful at. And, that self-love is such a hard thing, but I think if you experience it, I think for me, I experienced it from Nicholas and the group there in Colorado, and they just lifted me up. They loved me like no other. And, it's a cool thing to try and give that back. But for myself, it takes time. I'm still learning self-love, how to take care of self and not be so hard on myself. And, I have a lot more tools that I can work with nowadays. I had zilch, because I didn't talk to anybody. I was so isolated. You don't learn that on your own, unless maybe some people do. But for myself, nah, it was being around other people. They loved me before I could love myself, and it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. I believe it's God working through people. I believe that, he was working through that group, through Nicholas, and I'm very blessed to have that experience. So anyway, self-love, very important. When I offer that workshop, this is a huge part of this song, is going to be diving into self-love, self-care. Okay, the last verse. We found our treasure, a world unseen. The spirit realm. We found the spirit realm, or something in between. If we just go there, go with the breeze. Will you go there with me? To me, that spirit realm is, you kind of do go there on your own, but like I shared before, there's people that can help support that spiritual walk. And, this is, I love sharing this experience. This is one of my favorites. When I first started out in that spiritual walk, one of the first things that Nicholas shared with me was, you take action. You pray, but you also take action. And one of the first times I played that was going into King Super and I was dropping off an application. And I remember saying a prayer for the first time ever for something in my life other than staying sober, asking for help to stay sober. I was desperate in that area, and I needed help now because I knew I couldn't keep myself sober. I knew that 100%, and I needed any kind of help, and I was willing to try it. Now, did I believe that it would work? No, honestly didn't. So anyway, this is step 2, or another step of living in faith. And I remember pausing and praying and just saying something simple like, I'm going to drop this thing off, God, and I'm praying for your will to be done. And that was it. And then take the action. And there was some kind of freedom about it because I didn't have to be in control of it, or I did my part. And so that's one of the biggest things for me, that fear or doubt just was always there and is still there, still. And, it helps when I at least make an effort. Because even with the music stuff and the podcasts and stuff and the classes and workshops and courses, it's like, am I just doing this for nothing? Am I just, is this just something in my head? Like, that doubt is just such a dream killer. And, there's something about just doing the footwork and being, hey, I've done my part. Rest is in your hands, Lord. And, something that I learned from John P., my other mentor, sponsor, he would, to add on to that, thy will be done, he would add on, Lord, please bless it or block it. And man, I've prayed that a lot. But anyway, that was one of the first times using that. I thought that was an interesting one. But that's not it. That's not all. It's, there's something in the big book that said common sense in the spiritual realm, common sense, just forget about it. Don't even try and use common sense. And so, okay, one of the first times trying to live and walk in faith, I didn't know what was going on. I still don't know what's going on. But I started up this lawn mowing business, and I had an ad in the newspaper, and that's it. It was like, call Red for Red will take care of your yard or something, and golden grass cutters. Oh man, I didn't know what was going on. And so kind of the same thing now. I was just going out there, and I would drive around and just look for people's yards and just drive around and see if the grass was not mowed. And I would stop in. And I was trying to tap into that spirituality, and I was just trying to be led by the Lord. And, I felt like in my heart, like, okay, well, I'm going to pull in this driveway. And I'm just like, I don't know why the grass isn't cut. Or, I mean, the grass is cut, but I feel like I need to pull into this driveway. And I'm like, is this from God? And it's like, you have that doubt. And it's like, well, maybe that's not God guiding me or directing me. And, I wish I knew there's a scripture that said something about that where God will guide your steps. But you got to trust him or something. I should have looked it up. But anyway, I pull in this driveway. I go in there. I knock on the door or bell or whatever. Ding dong. Nothing. Nobody's there. And I'm thinking, this is stupid. Honestly, I'm like, this is phony baloney. This ain't God guiding me. And I back up and I look over my left shoulder, And there's this lady waiting on her porch, staring at me, just looking at me. And it's just almost like diagonal across the road. And I pull in there. How do you go from that? That's the story of my life. 1 minute you believe, the next you're freaking doubting. I'm like, no, this ain't, this is all bullcrap. Okay. I pull in the driveway across the street. And this lady says, would you mow my lawn or something? Or, oh man, I wish I remembered for sure what she say. It's Dorothy. She said something how she came outside and said, I was just waiting for somebody to pull in and mow my lawn or something. It was something crazy. Or she said that to me, and how can you doubt after that? So I would say a life lesson I learned that day was, if it doesn't make sense, just try and do it anyway. Just show up. Just do it. And if you get your doubts, you know that you tried. You at least tried. And sometimes you got to go to the wrong house so that you can get to the right house. Sometimes the Lord's not going to lead you right to it. If I know anything about the Lord, usually he takes the long way. And I mean the long way. And so, Dorothy was key, a huge. I talked about the Lord working through people. Dorothy, she was a big part of my faith journey. And it's the people. It's the people that live it. And so many people helped me out, but it was Dorothy's example, ended up mowing the lawn that day. It's not about the lawn. Dorothy would invite me over for dinner, games. It's like family. It was an example of what family is. You sit down together, you eat together, you play games together. You may not get along, you may not agree, but you spend time together. And she invited me into their house, into their home. And, she wasn't preachy. She was never preachy. But anyway, this is what I'm getting to. This is what I'm trying to get to. Getting all emotional. This is her example, and this is, like I said, this is very early in my spiritual walk. And, I didn't know what was going on, but I was part of the ride. And, when I would go over there, I would mow and she'd be out there working too. And, we'd be doing something and I would doing some other kind of yard work or something. She'd say something, yeah, the enemy. I remember her saying that for the first time. And she would say that a lot, the enemy. And I'm thinking, what is she talking about? Oh, man. So anyway, in the spiritual realm, we do have an enemy. And, I started opening my eyes and up to her talking about that. And there is an enemy, the devil. And he's alive and well, and he's got his little minions. And, there are good angels and bad angels. And, it was eye-opening to hear that. And, that's is just part of the spiritual realm. And, anyway, it helped start opening up my eyes, that we do have an enemy. And I would say that enemy would for me, be a big part of doubt and fear and trying to do things on my own and not trust God. And, like the Bible says, to kill, steal, and destroy. So that's what the devil wants to do. The devil wants to get you alone, wants you isolated, wants me isolated to get that weaker sheep or the weaker younger one or something. And, if I can keep it simple, that's what it'd be for me. The enemy wants me alone. It's a huge, huge part of my past. And I'm thankful for the community that I do have, for the people that are the support and the love that are available that God has sent. But actually, Dorothy was a huge part of that. And I have another Dorothy story that I want to share for later. But, she really blessed me out there in Colorado. And I would say her example of love, there was just a warmth there in the house. And they had this huge Bible right out in the living room. That was when she was selling the house. I remember seeing it there. But, she wasn't preachy. She lived it. And young at heart, just a beautiful woman, beautiful family. And they really they inspired me out in Colorado. That was early on. And I appreciate her love and acceptance and teaching slowly, little bit by little bit. And God definitely connected us, and I appreciate life opening that door. So anyway, I had to tell that one because that's one of my favorites. Just the way it turned out, Where are you leading me, Lord? This guy's not even home. And not 10 seconds later, I'm backing up and I look over my left shoulder to back up, and there's Dorothy. She said she was just waiting for somebody to come mow her lawn. Now, come on. Can you explain that? Now that is the spirit realm. That's spiritual living. And so did I know what I was doing that day? No, had no clue. But I was willing and I was taking some action. And I just prayed that the Lord would guide the way. Now, I do the same thing every morning. Hit my knees, Lord, please keep me clean and sober. Please guide the way. That was one step to help me to build that faith. And I just, it's the same thing today. So anyway, man, the scriptures, name that one about Moses. Man, I would say James, definitely one of my favorites for this, with getting that quiet time. And it says in James, I should have marked down, I'm not doing my homework. I keep waiting last minute for these. But anyway, James mentions something, might be in 5 or something, that draw close to God and God will draw close to you. And I've experienced that. That's, to me, absolutely true. It's one of my favorites out of the whole Bible because I've experienced it. And, is it easy to draw close to God? For me, to be honest, no. Back when, yes, absolutely. I was flying solo. And, now you got work, got family, you got freaking meetings, you got different stuff going on, and sometimes I can just get so busy, and you get into that mindset of go, go, go. And that, to me, that's what shuts God out for me. And for living a spiritual life, it's not an option. You need that quiet time, And in the Gospels, it talks about Jesus getting quiet with, away from people and getting quiet with his Father. And to be honest, to start off, I wanted nothing to do with Jesus. Nothing. And, it took me a long time to be willing and open up. Wasn't until just hearing from him or meeting face to face or soul to soul. But I would go to start off early, and I would just ask for the Father to be there with me. That was just the way it was for me. I didn't know what to call it. I was, praying to God, but for some reason, something struck home to me. Maybe it's something from the meeting or something reading from the big book. But there was something about a father to pray to Father, and it worked. It worked for me. It got the ball rolling. So anyway, man, if I can encourage anybody, get some quiet time. Be like Jesus and ditch the people. Like not all together, but sometimes you got to make quiet time. And it encourages me that, the Lord went and spent that time with his Father and got quiet. And it says, he'd go climbing in the mountains and stuff. Or I shouldn't just say that. I should have something quoted. But to me, my imagination or my soul says that the Lord didn't just walk a block. I for some reason, I picture the Lord getting out and climbing exactly like I would do and getting away, getting that space. And there's something about it, something that opens up. Maybe it's the truth of God's word of you draw close to God and he will draw close to you. And to me, don't take your phone. If you get out there and you're in nature, do not take your phone. Hit the do not disturb button or turn that stupid thing off. To me, it's a respect thing. And, maybe I picked that up from Nicholas. That's a huge thing for him. But anyway, I try not to take that phone unless, I have to. Please, you don't want to hear that ringer going off out in nature. That's worst case scenario. So anyway, oh man, I've blabbed on so much. If you're still listening, God bless. I hope you've been inspired, and I hope that I've inspired you to get out there. I would say that's just my main intention for this: to get out, get quiet, to live that scripture in James that says, I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to draw close to God. And that's just one way of getting out in nature. That's how I started. I didn't start with the Bible. I like I said, it's been a slow walk. To me, if I want to get close to the Lord, I'm into that Bible, and I love reading scripture. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like I said, I got 5 or 6 of them, and I enjoy that time. And I should get out more and get quiet. Now, if I need some quiet time, I go to the beach. I like going over to Huron, out on the pier. But I like to go where somebody's not going to be. And to me, there's just something about that. But anyway, God bless. Second song of the album, Treasure. Next week, we have coming up All Night Long. And that's more about community, excuse me. And here comes a train, so I'm going to end early. God bless. We'll see you next week, or we'll see you down the road. God bless. We'll have the train take us out.